The Chinese Communist Party attacks the Chinese Communist Party. Chinese government undecided on whether or not Chinese people's feelings should be hurt. For years, China has been a victim of the rest of the world. Despite being the third largest economy after the European Union and the United States, China is a victim of countries such as Japan, the Philippines, the United Kingdom, and Portugal, among many others. In fact, China is a victim of so many nations, and the people have had their feelings hurt so many times by the West, it is utterly amazing that each of them is still capable of standing on their own 2 feet. As a victim, China has been granted many privileges bestowed upon only a few select nations. They are allowed to blame the rest of the world for their own pollution, blame the rest of the world for their own economic problems, blame the rest of the world for the collapse in moral values, and blame the rest of the world. Unfortunately, the information department within the PRC has been thrown into disarray by the very people that helped build up the Chinese Communist Party. As the BBC reports, 23 senior officials within the CCP have written and signed an open letter demanding reforms which would see reporters and citizens given more freedom. Many of the signatories of the letter have been powerful figures within the Communist Party since Mao Zedong did many great things, such as giving megatons of rice to Russia when Chinese citizens were going hungry, and killing all the sparrows so that bugs could eat Chinese crops without fear of being eaten. This development is shocking, as it is well known that any country which allows its citizens freedom of speech quickly turns to chaos, bringing along tribulations such as starvation, joblessness, and the ability to look at porn. Countries such as New Zealand, Australia, and Canada have turned into cesspools of crime. Plebes are rebelling, and many deaths and injuries are a result of the instability which free speech brings. The situation is so bad in these countries that citizens emigrate in droves to become the citizens of North Korea, Burma, and Iran, where they can be better protected from their own words and the words of others. One of our contacts within the Chinese propaganda community spoke under the condition of anonymity.
Usually, when something like this happens, we bite back at the home nation of which person said it. For instance, if it were a small-time news reporter in a town like Woolloomooloo, New South Wales, he would make a statement saying that Australia had hurt the feelings of the Chinese people. He would refuse to talk to Julia Gillard for 3 weeks. We would get annoyed at Obama if he met Julia Gillard, and the BBC would write a fair and even story about it, which we would then rip to shreds for having hurt our feelings. If it were from Tibet, we would release a statement about how evil the Dalai Lama is. Unfortunately, this letter comes from within China, and we don't know who to attack. Just yesterday, a young intern came to me with a prepared statement. He is usually very good, one of our up-and-coming stars. But he wrote, Hu Jintao will not meet with Hu Jintao until Hu Jintao apologizes for the great harm which China has done to China, which is of course pathetic. We are completely stumped, and don't even know if our own people should have sore feelings or not.
Many things are also the fault of the Dalai Lama. He wields immense power, which makes China tremble at his name. So much so that they will refuse to meet world leaders who officially meet the Dalai Lama for fear that his power would destroy them. Along the Lion recently interviewed the Dalai Lama.
I believe in world peace. I believe that everyone should be able to practice their religion freely. I hope that China will give more autonomy to Tibet and allow Tibetans to make a few of their own decisions. I would also like to live in Tibet without being arrested.
Very powerful words indeed. Obviously, if this power were to rub off onto Obama and then onto Hu Jintao, China would crumble under the force. The Dalai Lama's words are so laced with magic and poison that last time his voice was heard in China, people all over Xinjiang province started protesting. It is not due to them having their own language, religion, and culture. It is due mainly to terrorists such as Al-Qaeda and the Dalai Lama inciting them. Please note, terrorist and terrorism are trademarks of the United States, Chinese, and Russian governments, used under permission of the People's Republic of China.